Hey everyone, Brian Zane here from All Pro Wrestling in Pacifica, California, and my guest at this time, he's a former Intercontinental Champion, former Tag Team Champion, star of stage and screen. He's been tearing up the indie scene in 2016, the son of a son, Mr. Cody Rhodes. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. It's the big question on everyone's mind. Are you excited for the new Legend of Zelda game coming out?
It's a great question. Yes, very, but because of its cel-shaded nature, I have given the idea that our generation, we're never going to get the adult Zelda, and we really shouldn't. It is a game for all generations, and I keep waiting and wondering, and Breath of the Wild looks amazing, but it has those like Wind Waker elements to it. And remember, we all thought Wind Waker was going to suck, and then it blew our minds away, and it's in our hearts, and Hyrule was underwater. I could talk about this forever. I am indeed looking forward to the game.
Can you talk about this, the crazy legal kerfuffle going on in TNA? I know it's like literally almost your first day there, but could you tell me what are your thoughts on what's going on with TNA?
All I can say is my personal experience with TNA was gleaming. Dixie Carter, such a wonderful woman, so nice to meet her. She helped my father out considerably, and that was like, I like engaging with those people. Billy, exceptional human being. For him, like the artist that he is, to help me and give his take on interviews and things of that nature, really great. Also, I got paid each night without fail, and I really didn't have a single bad experience. Whatever was going on was clearly behind closed doors, which is the way it should be, and I was never privy to any of it. The talent seemed happy. I was happy with what I was able to do with Eddie Edwards and Mike Bennett, and if I was to get asked to come back, I sure would think about it, yeah.
Let's talk about your time in WWE for a bit. One of the things that fans remember most fondly about your time there is your ability to go from character to character pretty much seamlessly. And this is even before Stardust. Predating Stardust, you had a lot of different character evolutions and changes. When you had those changes, did you ever feel like, I got to start from square one, or did you see it as like a challenge you could sink your teeth into?
I always thought of it like as filling the block. So as an entitled, or as a plucky underdog second gen, I filled that block. And then the entitled bratty legacy, I filled that block. So I always thought they built on top of one another. I never really felt like I was starting from square one, because I was I was one of the last guys who got the opportunity to wrestle Shawn, Taker, Triple H on a regular basis. So I wanted to take what I got from them and build and build. I thought that's how it worked, especially when you start at 19 years old, debut on television at 20. I had no choice but to grow up in front of them. I was definitely not good to go from, like guys come up from NXT today and they're good to go. Equity's built in them, and they're 100% the character they're going to be. I grew up on the television set. I loved it. I never thought like, this isn't working, got to be someone new. It just kind of like gradually flowed into that. And I'm such a fan of, like, this is silly. I feel like he's not a wrestler, but Daniel Day-Lewis is like my favorite wrestler, if that makes any sense. I think that's a good sign of somebody who's learning as they go, is the ability to paint new faces. I love when I see pictures of everything I've done in WWE and to see they're all different, and see that none of them were me in polka dotted trunks with bleach blonde hair and just doing an imitation. Instead, they were my best pieces of work, and I was real proud of all that, yeah.
For a long time, fans wanted to see you and your brother Dustin wrestle at WrestleMania. They never got that. They got the match at Fastlane last year.
Terrible match. Terrible.
I wasn't going to say it. I'm sorry.
God,
my question is, are you at all disappointed that you guys and the fans didn't get that at WrestleMania?
Not in the slightest. So it was never going to happen. It was never slated to happen. I get asked this question so much that I'm always like, man, I feel like people don't believe me. It was never going to happen. However, I would have been open to it, but it was never on the particular docket to do Stardust versus Goldust or Cody Rhodes versus Goldust at a WrestleMania. I just, gosh, I'm not disappointed. Here's how this works. People who met Dusty, he was the most charismatic, just larger-than-life presence that literally, like, in this room would be glowing. And then you meet Dustin, Goldust, and he's the nicest human being you've ever met, and his ability to go to a more bizarre place. When people meet me, I'm just kind of the dick of the family, if that makes any sense. I'm rather cold. I'm not, like, all the cameramen, they loved Dustin when they first met me. They were like, dude, didn't even introduce himself. Yeah, so, like, we're so different. I think Dustin particularly wanted that match a lot when he was off of WWE television, and then once he got on it, I think it was something that didn't appeal to him anymore, and we had that bad match, and we had a lot of good matches that no one ever saw on the live events, but it's probably not the last time you'll see us wrestle. He's never going to stop. Never.
Well, thanks to DDP Yoga, he's ageless now.
Oh my gosh. DDP Yoga, the worst thing about it is that it works. It's because Dallas is right. He's all this time. I'm in the original Yoga for Regular Guys book, and I always thought, gosh, I don't know about this. And now you see DDP is right. Everyone who's been on that has helped and healed themselves.
I need to get back on it. I fell off the wagon on that one. Let's talk about, speaking of Stardust, I saw an interview with you recently where you said the reason you wanted to break away from that character was because you felt a disconnect between you and the fans, especially in the wake of your father's death. How much of that was like the request? How much of it was like business related, as in this isn't working out, the fans don't buy it anymore? And how much of it was like, I hate this gimmick, get me out of it right now, if at all?
I think the big issue was wrestling's the one thing that always gives you a payoff. That's one of my kind of, I prefer wrestling versus the mixed martial arts of today. And people, they're allowed to love whatever, but pro wrestling, you always get at least one in the night, the desired result. It makes you feel good. The problem was we were getting the Cody chance, and the character of Stardust is having all this issue with them, but I knew we weren't going to pay it off. This can't last forever, and I wanted to capitalize when they could. And then when my dad passed away, people went through that. He was their dad too to some people, if that makes any sense. So the last thing they want to do is look at you in the ring and know, it's almost like knowing that I was rather going through a rough time. In hindsight, not so much WWE's fault, more my fault that I came back at all. I wasn't ready to come back. I knew we were going to go to SummerSlam, and I really wanted to make the Stardust Arrow stuff happen, but I wasn't ready to come back. I wasn't ready to come back as Cody Rhodes or Stardust, and then subsequently turned out to be a good thing because it made me just put me in the position today to say, nope, I need something else. I need to find something else, and we've traveled the whole country looking for it. That's what we're here doing today.
And speaking of Arrow, congratulations on your Arrow appearance recently.
Thank you.
Are we going to see any more acting gigs? Is Cody Rhodes going to go Hollywood?
Yeah, actually, yes. I don't know how much Hollywood, but I just recently got a place in L.A., and I wanted to give it my full attention after the Arrow episode. Wrestling's not going anywhere. I could never not be a wrestler, but I would definitely like to explore just the creative element behind the little screen, the big screen, and see if I'm able to offer something to it.
You said recently you worked WCPW recently, and I heard you cut a promo. First, how was that experience?
I love that place. I try not to tell them how much I love that place. I don't know when this airs, but this might be. I'm going back at the end of the month, and I'm really excited about it. Really wonderful place. Business over there. It's 1996. It's booming. Yeah.
Well, you said in a promo that night when you worked against the True Legacy show, you said when your father died, so did your passion for the business. But now it's more than a year later. You've traveled all over the world. You've worked BOLA. You've worked Ring of Honor, TNA. You've done almost everything there is to do in the Indies. Would you say the passion is back?
I think the whole point of this, and maybe it's one of the reasons we've had such good fan support, I think the whole point of this is finding it. It's like every night you find something else. This is so on the ground. This is so grassroots. You get to speak to people. You get to talk to people about Dad, talk to people about my career. I think every night I find a little bit more of what got me into it in the first place, if that makes any sense. And I love the idea that there are certain places I can go and not be Rhodes, because that's a challenge. What if I never was? What if I didn't, wake up the son of the American dream? What if I didn't have that advantage? What would I be able to cut it? So some places I almost get a kick out of that,
We'll talk about that transition, because, you didn't work the Indies then get signed. You pretty much were brought up in the WWE format. So, and now you've been pretty much your own boss for almost the last year. So talk to me about that transition from being under the WWE umbrella to working the Indies and having basically your own schedule.
Well, for me, I've yet to have it's connotations of Indies. Sometimes you think lesser. I've yet to have a lesser experience. I know it might happen, but all the shows I've been part of, including tonight, have a not indie feel about them. They have a local feel about them, a brand feel about them. like we're talking about what culture, like it's a brand, not an indie. And the difference is just the productions are higher. NXT did a great service for the business by spotlighting all of the indie superstars, because now people are going in the thousands to independent shows. So for me, I've yet to have a like indie experience. They've all been really wonderful. Crowds of 800 to 1,000 end up sounding like 18,000. So I haven't. None of them have felt indie yet.
I heard a story about you recently from a show in New York this past weekend, where I heard that earlier in the show the ring broke and they fixed it, and then you had your match, and then afterward you pledged to give your autograph and picture money to them to fix the ring. That is such a cool story, so classy. You didn't have to do that, but you did. Talk to me about that.
I don't know. It was one of those things that in the moment, it felt like I set up a ring when I was 15 years old, when I was my dad's referee, and traveled around with him when he had our small independent promotion. So I know the complexities of ring setup, and I know the complexities of when one breaks. It's a difference between a loose board, and if your frame breaks, you're screwed. So they needed a new ring, and I think we did pretty good business with the pictures and stuff in the ring at the beginning of the night. Seemed like a good gesture. My spirit had been paid already by the fun. A.R. Fox and Sean Carr are amazing, and it just seemed like the right thing to do. And I do want to go back to Excite, so they need to have a better ring.
They better fix that ring when you get back. Final question: what do you want the legacy of Cody Rhodes to be?
Oh, that's just the heaviest question of all.
I ask the hard questions.
I think so many of us are fans of our fathers, right? And I try very hard not to bring Dusty up, because after a while you're kind of beating people over the head with it. However, he was my hero, and for me to feel accomplished, I want to do something that I can stand in his company and feel important. And to him, he was a really big fan of me, and that's great. But he was my dad, so there's something out there. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a title, if it's a role, I don't know what it is. If it's a Senate run in Texas, something out there will make me say hey, I did right by the old man. And then that's all I can think of at the current point. I don't have any kids, so I'm pretty selfish in my mindset there. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to put all of Cody Rhodes' social media in the description of the video, so check him out. Thanks again to All Pro Wrestling for allowing me to interview Mr. Rhodes tonight. For Cody Rhodes, I'm Brian Zane. I'll see you next time.